Well, good afternoon or good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our weekly broadcast of the Abacus Law webinars. My name is Perry Paxton Lafferty, and I'm going to be your host today as we go through the topic keeping track of your time in Abacus Law. So, just to get us started here, if you all have access to your webinar panel there, you can see that there is a chat section down there at the bottom, or questions, I should say. Questions is really where you want to go. That if you do have questions during this presentation, please go ahead and fill that out. We will answer as many as we can within the time frame allotted today, but you can always send in questions and get a copy of this webinar from webinars@abacusnext.com. All right. So as I have mentioned, today's topic is keeping track of your time. And what we mean by that is keeping track of time that you work on your matters, on your cases here in Abacus Law. Now, if you have been using Abacus for any amount of time, you probably know that there's more than one way to do things in the system. And of course, that's our predicament today, but it's really a good thing. We actually have 3 different ways to keep track of your time. We're going to go through them individually and show you, what the procedures are for doing that. The first one I would like to start with is this little option or icon up here on the bar called the time ticks. It looks like a clock. This is actually referring to time tickets. Now, if you've been using law, you're probably familiar with the fact that this is Abacus Law, but there also is a billing and accounting side of the program that ties together with the Abacus Law. This icon right here is actually showing the way to get into Abacus billing and accounting. So you have an option here. If you would like, you could just use this icon and enter time that you want to bill to your clients directly into the billing program. So let's talk about that a little bit. What this icon does is it actually will bring your time directly into the client's bill. It does not exist in Abacus Law. You will not be accessing it through Abacus Law. It is for those firms where the person simply enters their time to go onto their bill, and it's really not something they want to have contained here in the Abacus Law program. All right, so let's see here. Okay, great. Thank you. Like I say, if you do have questions, please ask them over there. I'll try to get to them as we go through this. So let's get started here with the time ticks. So we click on that, and it brings up a time ticket screen. Now, time tickets are the key words here. Time tickets means billing. Okay, that means this is going into billing. Now, the trick here is this time tickets button. That's all it's going to do, is it's going to go over into the billing program so it is ready to appear on the client's bill. Now, that term again, appear on the client's bill. Well, of course, in the billing, you have options. Do you want it to appear on their bill? Is it a contingent case and it's not going to appear on their bill, but you want it for productivity purposes? I always recommend that you enter your time for any of the cases you're working on. Yes, contingent cases don't necessarily show the time tickets, but entering your time enters it into the productivity reports, which will then show you any, for any particular time frame, how much time have I put into these cases? Am I getting money out that's equal to the amount of time I'm putting in to make sure that you're actually charging a good amount for the time that you're doing on a case? So this is entering a time ticket directly into billing. Now, I was playing a bit before the class, so it popped up with the last person that I had entered a ticket for. But of course, you can just come in here and click on the matter number button and get another matter if you're ready to put in time for that person. The timekeeper, of course, is very important. That is whose hourly rate is going to be used if this is an hourly case. So if I'm being a good guy and entering time for somebody else who actually did the work, I have to be sure to use their initials instead of my own. Okay, So you want to be careful there to make sure it's the appropriate timekeeper whose rate will be used for this bill. It does default to your initials because you're at your workstation. So that's why it came up with my initials. All right. Next is the date of service. Obviously, it defaults to today's date. You can make changes. This is a little calendar button there with the little arrow that allow you to backdate time if you need to come in and put back time into the past week or so. Then we have the different types of time tickets. Now, before I get too deep in this, I want to explain. A webinar is to kind of, get some generalities across. We can't really go too deep into all of the aspects of the program because we do have an allotted amount of time. But at the end of our session today, I'm going to take you to the Abacus Next website and show you how you can sign up for any, one-on-one classes that you'd like. We have different topics available, and you can always say, I just want to, ask questions on my own. I don't want to follow any particular format. Okay, enough about that. We'll talk about that later. But here's, the date of the service, then the different types of time ticket. We're going to leave this as billable. Over here, of course, is how many hours are we actually billing for. So we want to make sure to put in there the proper amount of time. And then we come down to the text box. Now, something you all may not be aware of yet, but be a good thing to do, is use either your time ticket abbreviation codes or your macros. In time tickets and billing, we call them time ticket abbreviations codes. All right, so I'm simply going to put my cursor in the yellow box, press my F5 key, and it brings up my different time ticket codes that I have previously set up in the system because I can't type at all. So here I can simply click on one of the tickets or one of the codes here and hit done, and it pops it into place. So I don't have to type that. So if you're not good at typing, you're going to want to take the time to set up those codes. Okay, and if you're doing this strictly for the billing program, you set those codes up in the billing program. Now, of course, we hit done, and that simply takes that one ticket and pushes it over into the billing program. I will have no reference to it here in law. That is the big deal between doing it through this time tickets button and the next way I'm about to show you. That just pushes it through to law. Into billing, and that's it. Okay, the way most folks enter their time is to actually put it here in law under the proper matter, and so it retains in law, but of course you can bill for it as well. So we are going to come over to matters. Now, as I mentioned, a couple different ways, right? Here's the matter drop-down menu. I can come from here and choose my matter, or I can use the icon right here and click it open this way. So we're going to use first guy on the list. You could start just typing in their matter description here, okay? And of course that will find it for you. I purposely put this guy on the list so that we have somebody new to work with. So I'm going to double click. It opens up his matter information. Now, obviously, these matters have already been entered, okay? They don't miraculously just appear unless you've had some sort of import done. If you're just starting with Abacus, that may have brought them in for you, but you will want to check into one of the onboarding classes for AbacusLaw if you are brand spanking new to the program, so you learn how to get the names and your matters or your clients and your matters set up in the program. All righty. How do you enter a note? Well, there's this little tab here, number 2, called Notes. That's a perfect place to go. All right, so here's where you put in notes. But just so you do know, you also could do this through the Events tab, through the Doc tab, or through the Email tab. Okay, those are 4 ways of billing for your time here in AbacusLaw. Notes is the most common, so we're going to start here, go down to Add, click the button. This opens up our note screen. Now, obviously, this looks different from the time ticket screen, right? Well, we're in law, and we're entering a note, so it remains in law, and we're actually going to push it over to the billing side. So we start at the top. The date defaults well, actually, I opened my Abacus yesterday, so it defaulted to yesterday's date. I have not shut it. Um, the time of day comes through. Now the date does go through to the bill if you are going to push this through to billing. The time of day does not. Okay, that will not show up on a bill. But here are your hours. So this, of course, is where you're going to put in the amount of time spent on this particular note. Since you came and opened a matter, it automatically knows who the client is, and it gives us our matter description right there. So this is a benefit so that I don't have to go look it up because I've already chosen my matter. Now over here, you want to make sure the proper timekeeper's initials are in here. So the person who did the work, okay, should be giving credit for it, not particularly just the person entering the work. Then here we are in our yellow text box again. All of this does get sent over into a time ticket if we choose to bill for it. Here again, if you are not a good typist, you may want to set up your macros. This case, it's still the F5 key, so I push that, and you can see I just have a couple entered here in law. So it is two separate databases that you're going to want to set up these macro codes. Okay? It's exactly what you want them to be. You click on add, you put in the phrase you would like. It can be many, 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 many characters, so they're pretty lengthy, so that helps a lot. But now once they're in here, I can simply highlight the one I want, click done, and it pops it into my note. Okay? Now, here I have the option to just save this. Maybe it's something I'm not going to bill for. Okay? I can save it. It will remain here in AbacusLaw. All of my associates who have permissions will be able to come in and see all the notes in the case so they can follow along with what's going on. All right? Or perhaps I simply want to bill it later because I'm not sure how much time it's going to take, something like that. Perhaps you could just save it and bill it later. My advice, though, is going to be to actually bill it as soon as you can. I hate having to go back at the end of the day and try to remember what the heck I did. So if I am done here, there's no reason why I shouldn't go ahead and hit bill. Now, just want to clarify, what does that bill button mean? It's not going to produce a bill and send it off to the client. It's not that simple. Okay, we've got a lot more in our billing process. Okay, because there's a lot of other features optional. But basically, this means leave it here in law and send it over to the billing. All right, so I'm going to click on the bill button. Before I do so, I want to make sure I mention this private button. You want to kind of be careful here. If you put a check mark in this box, only the person who is this are these initials. Okay, only me, because it's Perry, can see this note. All right, nobody else will be able to see it. And if you got people working on the case and they can't see what you did, it's kind of going to be awkward there. So be very careful with your private button. All right, so let's go ahead and click bill. Gives my confirmation to make sure I know what I'm doing here. Are you sure I want to do this? Yep, I am. So now what that's going to do is it's going to bring up that time ticket screen that we just saw when we were over here. So what it's doing is it set up this note, and now it's taking the note and pushing it into billing. So it's getting two things done, whereas this other option, the one we first went through, only enters time into the bill. It does not save it long. But this had the note, so that's going to remain here. I'm just going to double check this, make sure it's all okay. And once I know it is, I hit done. And now that note is not only here, it's also in the billing program. And the way I know that, the easiest way you know that, is to look right here in front of the date. In this little column, there's a dollar sign, okay? If you see a dollar sign, that means this has been pushed over into the billing program. Okay, so this has been billed. Now, anytime I come back here, I can open up my notes, and all of my notes will be here. If they do not have a dollar sign, say I just simply saved the note. Let's quickly just do one. How about background information? Usually we don't charge for background information. Okay. Put up here how much time I spent. Okay, and hit save. By not billing it, there is no dollar sign. It's here, everybody can see it, but it's not going to be included over in the billing section of the program. So you want to make sure with your staff you understand which way we should be going. You know, if you're keeping track of your own time, they're probably also going to want you to bill that time over into the billing program so that then the billing process becomes easier. Okay? Now, as I kind of mentioned earlier, if I save something and then realize that I do want to bill for it, I simply come in to the matter. You know, I can open up my matter browse, choose the particular person, go to my notes tab, highlight the note, and click the bill button. And that will make sure, give me my time ticket screen, and now I'm ready to hit done, and I have billed for it. So there, you know, you don't have to bill for it immediately. You can come back later and bill for it. Okay? All right, so that's putting in notes. Now, you basically can do the same thing under events. Now, of course, this ties to your calendar, and that's another story. Okay, that's another webinar. And of course, that's part of our onboarding classes. But you can do the same thing here. You don't want to bill twice for the same time, so you kind of got to pick where you're going to enter it. Okay, obviously, here's an add button. This screen is a little bit different than the note tab. Okay, it's obviously connecting to your calendar. So there's a lot of things that go along with that. You know, all of these different things. So it does appear on the calendar, but the main thing is to put in how much time and what you're doing. We'll say review, one click is all you need. Come down here, finish this time ticket, this actual event, okay, and hit save. Okay, say okay, let you know when the holidays are. Yes. Okay, now, see if I can open that up. What did I do? What did I do that made my event not just show? That's a good question. I know my system has just been set up today, so maybe I don't have everything set up the way I should. But what I'm supposed to be getting across to you here is that the bill button can be used here to go ahead and send your events over into the billing process as well as notes. You know what? I just want to try one more time because I don't like to be easily defeated here. So let's say I'm not going to put it there. We'll put in text here, and let's see if I can hit save and then hit bill. Let's see if it's going to let me. Okay, that seems to be the problem, is my beginning date here on my system. So I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. But along the same process here, if you're working on documents for a long time and you want to add something in here, you can bill for that as well, and it sends it over to the billing program. And of course, your emails. If you are using Outlook and you do have your system set up to work with Outlook, then as you're receiving or sending emails, you can bill for them as well. All right, now, if you would like to have an automatic timer, okay, have it automatically start timing your event or your note in this case, how can you set that up? Well, of course, it's two separate things, right? One's for the time tickets and the other is for the note. So what we're going to do here is first talk about the note. Actually, in the note, so if I go back to Matters, go to Browse, bring up my person just for a little repeat action here, go to Notes, and I hit Add. There is a little gear down here that's referred to as the settings, and you got a couple different things hidden back here you may not be aware of. So if you open up this button, you can come in and set up a default so that your timer starts upon opening the window. So as soon as you open the note window, it will start your timer for you, okay? And you don't have to remember to open this on your own and do it. Okay, so that is under the note. on the gear icon here, that's for your settings. Okay, you also have the ability to do that for your time tickets. Okay, if you are using this option and you want the timer to automatically start there, well, it's kind of tucked away. This option is under File, under Setup, under User Preferences. So this is the timer strictly for time tickets, not for notes. All right, so we open that up, and this one's almost down to the bottom. Okay, it says Start Timer when you're opening a new time ticket. So that one will work in coherence with this time ticket icon. Okay, so that's what starts that one. Now, I don't want to leave this screen without telling you something about this little icon over here, this little pencil. Yes, that is a shortcut for a note. Instead of coming over and opening your matter or opening your matter and going to browse, you can just click on the pencil. But it doesn't know what matter you're talking about here. Okay? So you're going to have to go choose the matter. All right? And put that in place. Now, I come from the billing side of this program. I don't know if you all have taken any of the billing classes, but that's where I usually work. I'm just helping out a little bit here in law today. But when, all of your notes, if you're going to bill them, have to be associated with a matter, not just a name, not just your client. Yes, it's great if you want to put your client name in there. I believe this is William Rice. Where did I put him? There he is, right there. Okay, so I could go do that. But what's most important is that you get the matter. If you have your system linked up, it will automatically know it's William Rice as the client. But the main thing here is to make sure you get your matter. Otherwise, it has nothing to bill to. The billing program comes from the matters. Okay, so this is just another way of entering a note. It's just you have a little more work to do, but you can get there quickly this way. All right, now we've got some other stuff to talk about here. Couple of other different tools that we have here. We have something that you may not know about that gives you a little more access to what's going on with your clients and your matters, or I should say with the matters, since that's what I keep talking about here. Basically, on a matter. So we have to open up the matter screen. So once again, I'm going the long way. Matters, browse, and a double click. Down here, there's a little accounting button. What does that do? Well, there's a little magic back here. If you open it up, you can get to a few things. You know what? I'm going to use somebody else because I just remembered William Rice is a little new to my system. I'm going to use somebody that I have bruised about a bit so that we know we have lots of stuff here. So we use Cedar Lake, come down, open up the accounting button. If I click on the accounting summary, look what you can get. This is pulling from billing and showing you, maybe while you're on the phone with a note to Trevor Daniels, this is showing you all the fees that have been billed, all the fees that have been paid, and obviously what fee dollars are still owed. It goes through all of the different parts of billing. In other words, the fees, the hard costs, the soft costs, taxes, late fees. It also gives you date of the last bill, date of the last payment, if they have any money in trust, and what this balance adds up to. So it goes through and adds all the unpaid parts and gives you that right there. Then it's also showing you all the new time or fees that have been entered, all the new costs, either hard or soft, that have been entered, but these have not yet been billed to the client. So if I'm talking to Trevor, I can say, oh, by the way, your bill's going to be a little large this month. We've done a lot of work on your case. Or, I've got some hard costs coming through. I'd really appreciate if you could pay me those quickly so I can take care of those because I had to advance the monies, whatever it might be. And, of course, gives you totals here. And it gives you a little AR down here to let you know how old what parts of that debt is. So that's a pretty cool thing. All right, so that was found here under the accounting button. The next one are the time tickets. So when you click on this little guy, this actually shows you the time tickets, which means they're in the billing program, and these, of course, are unbilled. So these are the tickets that have been entered into law. Well, I can't say that for sure. They may have been entered just into billing because this is a billing screen. But these are 3 time tickets that have been entered that have not yet been billed to Mr. Trevor Daniels. Okay. Next, what do we have? Accounting details. Now, if y'all have been working within the program in Abacus and you know a little bit about Abacus billing, you know this is what we call matter maintenance. We're actually in the billing and accounting program looking at this. Abacus opened it up for us. These are all the details about the case as far as who's working on it. Well, not necessarily who's working on it. That was not a good thing to say. Perhaps what trust account they're using, what kind of case it is. Is it an hourly case? What format are we using? What are we billing it? Is there a minimum trust retainer on this? What rates do we have for this particular matter? What is the address on the bill? Is there fee sharing going on? And credit card information. So you can check to see what information is in the program about that particular matter. Okay. And let's see here. Accounting details. All right. Oh, no, that's what we just did. What am I talking about? Billing activity. This is my favorite friend here. This shows you their ledger. Okay. So this is opening up billing, and it's showing you everything that's been charged. That's debit. And everything that's been paid. That's the credit. It gives you their billing ending balance. It gives you their trust balance. It gives you their AR balance and gives you their unbilled balance. Okay? So this is, if you've ever worked on the billing side, this is what determines what's on the bill. And if anything's ever wrong on the bill, this is where we come. Now, you don't have to know this. You don't have to come in here if it is not your job to process bills. But this is how the billing system knows what to put on the bill, how the dollars come up on the bill. So that's a big part of the billing side. Okay, back to AbacusLaw. And last but not least, well, there's one more here, but we'll talk about trust. We click on the trust activity. If there has been any trust activity, it actually opens up the trust activity from Abacus Billing and shows you all the deposits that have been made and all the withdrawals that have been done. Okay? Now, one thing I want to put out there, just because this may look weird to people because they see how much money has been paid, but what's this balance here? Up here, it's showing us information that happened prior to October 1st. Okay, so you got to make sure your date ranges are looking at the time frame you want. You can always change these to cover more time. Hit refresh. Oh, it's probably not going to like the year 900. Don't go back quite that far. But 1900 is a common usage in Abacus, so you may be used to that one. So refresh, and now this goes back and shows everything that's ever happened on this guy's trust ledger. All right, so that's the trust. Okay, now, of course, those two are over here on the accounting side, the billing details, the trust details, all of that. Now, just because you may be curious, what the heck scheduled payments? Well, that's another way of doing billing. I don't want to get into that. That's a way deeper topic than what we have time for today. But you can bill clients via a payment schedule where you actually set up the date of the payments and exactly how much they are on the date they should be received. And if that is such and such, this matter is one of those, then you could see their scheduled payments as well. So that's a lot to know. Now, remember, if you have questions, you can get in there. Let's see if I can find the questions on my thing here. Oh, my. Okay. Okay. Sorry about this. I probably should have looked at these a little sooner. We have a question that says, in the hours box, is 0.530 minutes or 50 minutes? I'm not using Note to do automatic timekeeping, and I leave that note for a while when I go to lunch. Is it possible to open up the same note and add time to it, or do I have to completely add a new note with a new start time? You can leave the note open. Thank you for asking the question, okay? You can leave the note open. and bill it whenever you're ready. If you're using the timer, okay, you don't have to go with what the timer says. You can change the amount of time on there. We should go back and revisit that. Okay, so let's do that. Let me tuck this question away if I know how to do that. Okay, we'll just move it over. Thank you. All right, so back here, if I'm adding a new note, okay, I can open this up, start my timer. Oops, start my timer. I think it was starting automatically for me, and just leave it open and go about my business, do whatever, come back, and then I can assign the amount of time I want. Okay, if it's over the amount of time, okay. If it's under the amount of time, that's okay. When you click this, okay, that's when Abacus is going to go ahead and round. Now, probably important to talk about, Abacus does not round up, okay? If it's, okay, and this is usually done by the 10th of hour. Most law firms bill by the 10th of hour, every 6 minutes, right? A 6-minute increment is 1/10. If you bill, well, I'm not going to go into the math because I won't get it right, but you know, a 0.5 is 30 minutes. It's a half an hour, okay? So Abacus is not going to round up to the next 10th of hour. It's going to round down. So you've got to be very careful if you're using the timer that you get the appropriate amount of time in here. So if I really want to bill for 2/10, that's it, 2/10, I would put in 0.2, and that's what it's going to bill for. It's going to take the hourly rate for this timekeeper, and the hourly rate times 2/10 will give you the dollar amount that the value of the ticket will be shown at. All right, so you can round it up, you can round it down, or you can let Abacus do it for you, but it does not round up. All right, now you actually can open more than one note. Okay, so let's say I have this one going and I'm leaving it running with a timer perhaps. I could do that and see how it started at 12 minutes because I was at 2/10, so it's picking up from there. Or or I should say, yes, you can do that, and then you can come over here on work at this one, and it's a totally different matter, and you could start a timer on this one as well. Now, 2 is probably the max for me, but you could have 3 or 4 open if you wanted to and close them and bill them when you're ready. So yes, they are independent of each other. And I hope I answered the question that the tenths of hour is 6-minute increments. So 0.5 is 30 minutes. Okay, now let me try to get back to my questions and see if I answered them all. Okay, I think that's all I see here for the moment. So that's what I see. If I'm not getting to your question for some reason, please let me make sure you have the address webinars@abacusnext.com, because any questions that come in from the webinars, or if you think of it in the middle of the night or 20 days from now, just submit it and we're always happy to answer them for you. Okay? Okay. Okay, one more thing I do want to show you here. Let's see. No, I don't want to save that. Let's go ahead and close this. No. Okay. There's this little gold A down here in the very right-hand corner, all the way down here. This is called the Timekeeper Hours Quick View. Okay? Well, it really just says Timekeeper's Hours. But when you click on that, this actually shows you your time, okay, how much time you have entered. So you can see, okay, by the date, and this is for the person logged into this workstation. This is the only person I can see the time for is me. It shows me the hours I've billed today, okay, the hours that I have billed for this week, last week, this month, last month, and year to date. So it's showing you the hours, plus it's showing you the dollars that equate. Okay, so whatever the rate is for that matter that's already been set up in the other side of the program, when you enter your time, it calculates it out by the 10th of hour, whatever it might be, and that's what's coming through. So this is a great way to see, did I enter my time today? right? Very handy dandy. At the end of the day, did I enter my time? Okay, good. We probably shouldn't enter more than the hours we worked today, but this is letting you know what's going on. So there's a quick way to see what it is. And that is down here, this little tiny gold A. I'm not sure you all can see all the way down to the bottom corner of my screen. I'm hoping you can, but it's just like the Abacus A, but it's in gold. Okay? And now let's say we want to see all the time tickets. All right. I don't want to have to go back to each matter and look them up individually. I just want to see all my time. How can I do that? All right. Well, the easiest way to do that is in the billing program. So I'm going to take you there. What you do is you click on your billing icon. I actually have mine open, so I'm just going to click on that. Now let me move this little guy again. Okay. Under the billing drop-down menu, it's very, very, very simple. It's called the time ticket diary. This is the diary that will show you every time ticket with the text, with all of the details. So it's kind of like a precursor to the pre-bill. And if you want to see what time has come over to Abacus Billing, you click on that. And now you have a date range to enter, your start date, your end date. You put in what you want here. You could pick the type of time ticket. We, aren't going to go into that too much here today, but, all is a good one. So all time tickets. For who? You probably are wanting to see your time tickets. So under timekeeper, you're going to make sure to pull up your initials. Now, of course, if you know your initials, you don't have to look them up. You could just type them in. All your clients, or, you're just looking for that one client to make sure you got their time in here, you could do that. All matters, or you could do it individually. I'm just going to say all matters. And for most of you, task-based code should not matter. You just leave it on all. Okay, I like all as my default, unless it's, I'm just looking at my time. Over here, I want to see both my held tickets, because you can put a ticket on hold if you're not going to bill it. You want to send it to billing, but you don't want it to go on a bill yet. There's a way to put that on hold. And unbilled. This is all the time I have not billed. And then you click preview, and this shows you all of the time ticket with their text, all the bitty details about them, the client number, the client name, the matter number, the description, everything there is to know about this ticket. So this kind of gives you a chance to review your tickets in detail to make sure everything is correct, instead of our little gold A that just adds it all up for us. Okay. All right. So page 3 gives us the totals here. There we go. There we are. Okay, so that's the only thing we're really touching on here as far as having to go into the billing program. It's under the billing drop-down menu, and it's called Time Ticket Diary. They kind of have this in AbacusLaw. When we were in there looking at the arrows, at the account summary with the arrow down. Let's just go through that one more last time. Browse, fill up a matter, this little guy right here. Okay, browsing time tickets, but here again, it is generally just for the matter you have open. So to be able to see all of them, you want that time ticket diary. Okay, guys. Well, let's see here. I wanted to also show you the ability for you all to get to the AbacusLaw, Abacus Next, or AbacusLaw works as well. We have our name being Abacus Next now. The website, you just go there and you can sign up for classes. If I could type, see, this is why I need my time ticket codes, because I can't type. Okay, and you open this up, you come down, down, down. This is where it's hidden, all the way at the bottom. Took me a while to find this, but all the way to the bottom of the website, you have schedule a service. When you click on schedule a service, it opens up, okay, and of course, this is our legal little thing here where you agree. I'm just, next, you agree to our little terms there. Now, you come up here, and you have the different products. Well, obviously, we're talking about Abacus today, so we put a little dot there. It opens it up. Now, these are the different Abacus Law options. Okay. Onboarding training. I'm hoping all y'all have had the onboarding training. These are the 3 classes we think that in order that you should take. These are detailed classes. They're one-on-one. You talk to your trainer. We can use your data if you'd like, or we use a sample database if you'd rather just sit and listen and write notes. But you can come in here and take these classes. And then if you have already taken those classes, of course, we have more. And this is law, again, on the law side. So if you click this, it takes you in and shows you a lot more classes. Oh, whoa, that went fast. A lot of other Abacus Law classes. Okay, now we have the same abilities for Abacus Accounting and Billing, that if you want to get more knowledge in those, you can come in and choose that. Then, of course, when you pick one, you then come in and you sign up for your date and time, okay, whatever that might be. Okay, you pick your time. It asks your email address, all that good stuff, and it sends you a notice that you have that class set up for that. And of course, it doesn't have to go by the agenda of the trainer. You can ask any questions you want. All right, guys. Well, let's go back and see if we do have any questions here. Open up my little screen again and put this back where it belongs. And okay. All right. It looks like I've gotten to all the questions I can see. If you do have questions, though, please feel free to send them to webinars@abacusnext.com. That concludes today's Abacus Law session. Thank you all very much for your time, and I hope you have a lovely afternoon. All righty. Bye-bye.